Hello, and welcome back. This is going to be episode 3 of the Remembering Dark Souls series. And today, I think we're going to start exploring the creepy woods underneath the blacksmith. So, last episode we got this sword, the Zweihander, upgraded to +5, which means we should be doing pretty good damage for this stage of the game. And we also put a few points into vitality and endurance just to, get through fights more safely. So here we have one of the Titanite demons, is I believe what they're called. This is not a proper boss. You can see he only has he has a regular enemy health bar, and we don't have to fight him even, but I think it'll be interesting to make the attempt. I would not attempt this if I did not have a +5 weapon. Yeah. You can see that the slow swing speed of my weapon is making this a little more challenging. So to fight this guy properly, you kind of want to be up close and in his armpit, because that kind of puts you out of most of his hitboxes for his swings. But this guy also likes to move quite a lot, and every time he readjusts, that's another, you lose that whatever safety you had established in your position. I also like to just take advantage of the iframes and the dodge rolls for additional safety. I'm not doing it very well here. Yeah. Yeah, with the slower rolls I have with this weapon, this might be, instant death if he grabs you with that. Yeah, with my heavier rolls, I just don't get as much invincibility frames. We'll give this a couple more good attempts, but like I said, we don't actually have to fight him. Actually getting him to do the those lightning attacks is kind of advantageous, because got caught by his tail. Yeah, the tail plus the really awkward terrain in this room make it pretty hard to maneuver around him effectively. While it's not really my aesthetic to be running around like a piece of beef jerky, this might actually make this fight a little bit easier if I can roll better. Tail again. yeah, we just want to take this slow and steady, stay relaxed, calm. In fact, baiting out those electric attacks should make this a lot easier. That's pretty interesting. Okay, yeah, making use of the elevation is really the best way to get an advantage here. Alright, we did get him. Sheesh. Alright, I'd like to get my clothes back on. As we get, I think once we get through the forest a bit more, we will actually slowly start to have some more armor options, but because I just have not put very many points in endurance, the amount of weight I can carry on my bodies are still pretty low, so I'll try and raise that a little bit. Okay, and like the boar from the Undead Burg, the Titanite demons don't respawn. I also almost missed that he drops a demon Titanite. For some reason, I thought you just get it automatically. That it's like one of these automatic drops, but no, you actually do have to go pick it up. All right, and here we have Darkroot Forest. Our Darkroot Garden, yeah. We have these plant creatures coming after us, and they actually drop some fairly useful items. You saw the blooming purple moss clump. Those can cure poison or toxin if you get afflicted with those status conditions. So they're nice to pick up here and there. So this is sort of one of the things about Darkroot Garden is it does have a couple branching paths within it. This is like the first major path here, and there's an item down this way. We're not going to go all the way. We're not going to explore all the way into this sort of sub area called the Darkroot Basin, but we are going to go in just a little to get some good stuff. Yeah, so this is the Darkroot Basin now. Just another one of those crystal lizards. That was pretty nice. It's kind of close to getting away there, honestly. I believe this is the hunter set. Yeah. Didn't have a bow before, and I do now. That will come in handy. So we're just going to go down a little bit further over here. There's like a mini boss if you go this way, and actually this little tower you see here, we can go up it. And, you know, actually, we might go take a look over there. But that tower actually connects back to Undead Burg. So here, we're going to attempt to fight a Dark Knight for the first time. Although, we're mainly going to be fighting this one because we have a bonfire right next to him. The other major thing we just picked up next to the Dark Knight is this, the Grass Crest Shield. So the Grass Crest Shield has a special effect on it. As a shield, it's pretty okay. It's light, and you can see over here in the damage reduction. It has 95% physical reduction, so it almost fully blocks physical damage. But the real reason I'm going to be carrying it is because it has an enchantment on it, which will increase your stamina recovery. So you don't actually even have to be holding it. So like here it's in my left hand, but if I two-hand my sword, I still get the benefit of the shield. Okay, and I can still get a medium roll with this, so yeah, I think we're in good shape here. So there's a pretty common way to cheese this guy, but we do enough damage with this sword that we might actually be able to fight him relatively honestly. Yeah, you can see we already took out half his health bar. But these guys really are about you know, getting good positioning, like most fights in this game. I want to get good positioning. Yeah, you see I'm blocking with my sword, and I got stuck there. Yeah, one of the downsides of the lock-on system is it kind of forces all your dodge rolls to be relative to the thing you're locked onto, which in occasions like that can cause the game to roll you in a direction that is not where you want to go. So I'm trying to get another backstab off on him. See, I'm not having any success so far. Yeah, you can see I'm getting stuck again in the same spot. He also won't follow you down to the bonfire, so you can kind of exploit him that way. Yeah, you probably got him there. Yep. So, fun fact for speedrunners, that Black Knight has a chance to drop his halberd, which is commonly the weapon people will use in a speedrun. It has very high damage, and the stat requirements are not too difficult to get to, and you can upgrade it with Twinkling Titanite, which you get from killing crystal lizards, so it tends to be the weapon of choice for a speedrun. So we have another kind of knight style character coming up that we're going to be fighting. But first we're going to pass by this little region here. Not sure how far down we'll be able to see. You can see some like spiky, you can see it. There's like a Hydra back there. It's a mandatory fight for a to get into the DLC. We'll have to deal with that, but for now, looks like I aggroed one of these crystal golems. Let's see if I can take him out with my current gear. Okay, that's not too bad. Yeah, the Zweihander is a pretty nasty weapon. But this is the real reason we came this way. We're going to open this door. And, yeah, I think he's hiding. A bashful little knight guy here. Now, this is our first, I think, fight with, like, a undead. This is another undead who I believe has gone hollow, which means he's basically lost his mind from being, resurrecting so many times. This is actually a named hollow, which we'll see once we defeat him. And there's actually quite a bit of lore about this particular character in this game. Kind of cool that we're both using these big, heavy weapons, although his is maybe more impressive. But he's pretty easy to backstab. Havel. So that is the character we just slayed, and he also will not respawn. This item is actually going to be quite useful, because I think I've mentioned that I've been having lots of difficulties with my equipment load, and this gives a pretty significant boost to your maximum equipment load. So let's just go ahead and equip that, and then we can, have some more fashion options. Put the gloves back on. Most of these are not very impressive, but we're gonna have some more options coming up that I think are pretty nice. Let's go run and grab this real quick, just because we're here. Fighting that Hydra is not something. It's one of the, I would call, most poorly designed encounters in the game, because I guess I don't really want to get too far into it. We'll be dealing with it eventually, but yeah, it has some very frustrating quirks to it, where if you are not prepared to deal a lot of damage very quickly, you can basically just get stuck. So I think we might make a little bit of progress towards the goal here. Put 1 point to faith, and a little more into vitality. Oh, I didn't show it, but the tower we were in with Havel, if we'd gone all the way up, that would take us to the same tower where we fight the Taurus demon. This also this connects to a whole other area, which we might examine further later, but I think, as I've mentioned, this game is just a whole interconnected network of passageways and tunnels and elevators. And I really want to kind of keep this episode's focus on the Darkroot Garden. So let's head back up to where we were when we first entered this area. This grass crest shield I have is, I think, probably the most common shield people use in this game, just because the stamina regen is so useful. That, like, even if you might prefer having a heavier shield, like, unless you have a pretty good reason, you always are going to have the grass crest shield, like, on hand, because the utility it provides is just so good. Okay, so we did use the bonfire, so these enemies are going to have respawned by now. Okay, so that's the blood red moss clump. That one heals bleed, which I think we might have seen in the graveyard behind Firelink. The skeletons can inflict bleed status build up on you. So on this little side passage, there's actually a cute little trap here, another ambush. That was not a shrub, that was another one of these plant monsters. Okay, there's a little item back behind here. Another soul packet. So this pretty door here is actually locked by a key item that we can buy from the blacksmith. I think it's about 10,000 souls to get it. We might get this later, but for now, I'm not really going to bother. There's another... So I think this will actually be the first illusory wall we've seen in this run. This is something FromSoft loves to do, where you just hit a wall and it is no longer there. You can also roll into it, and that will cause it to disappear. Yeah, there's actually a bonfire here that's just hidden away. If we didn't get this bonfire, we would have had to, walk a lot more, and the run back from this next part we're going to be exploring could be kind of irritating. So let's check this area out. Go a little bit deeper. You see that item there. I'll go ahead and pick it up, but let me show you that it's actually a trap. More of these plant monsters hiding. Kill them before they wake up. Normally the intended way to get to experience this area is you pick up the item and then all those three things jump out at you. But I'm not a chump. I've played this game before. And I remember most of those ambush style traps. Okay. So there's a few good things down in this area. First things first, I think we want to get finally some drip. And we're going to get that going this way, grabbing the Elite Knight set. This is going to be one of those spots where we just run. We get what we want, and we're going to run. Because there's just too many things to have to fight at once for this to really be a worthwhile combat situation. So we're just going to go back to the bonfire and reset now that we got our drip. Here we have now the Elite Knight set. This is the armor that our friend in the Undead Asylum was wearing. Let's take a look at what it says. Armor of a nameless knight, perhaps an elite knight of Astora, based on the fire-warding heraldic symbol on its blue surcoat. Although he was loath to give up on his undead mission, he perished at the Undead Asylum and went hollow. That's rather unfortunate for our friend. The bright side is the armor's pretty good. It looks very nice. Even with this ring, I'm still having some equipment load difficulties. I believe I need to stay under about 35, 36 or something to maintain a light roll with my current setup. So I might be able to go with this for a bit and just have some less enthusiastic pants and gloves. But yeah, we can just look a little better. We'll sacrifice some agility just to have some better style. And as you can now see, I think, Darkroot Garden holds quite a number of secrets. Oh, wow. Okay. I think since I grabbed that item back here, the ambush that got set up now triggers every time I walk by it. But this area has a lot of little secrets to it. This tree is actually killable. And it unlocks a secret passage. With these strange little forest frog stingray things. It's kind of an interesting design. There's another big tree here, although we can actually just walk past this one. But we'll go ahead and eliminate this one as well, to free up some space. So, the main reason to go this way is because there is a passage to the right, but there is also a kind of useful item here, I believe. I'll grab a... Okay, I stand corrected. I thought there was something else over here. That's just like a kind of medium-sized soul packet, which is fine, but you don't really need to go out of your way to be grabbing something like that. It's interesting that that sound of water, it sounds like there's a waterfall or something, but there is a waterfall in this area, but I think it's further away. So in this area we also have a lot of these stone giants. And they have some pretty nasty attacks. And they hit pretty hard. I'm going to try and use the heavy trees in here to put some distance between us, even though the camera's kind of freaking out. So the other thing that those things do that's very annoying is they cast a spell that makes you move incredibly slowly. Thankfully, this +5 sword we have is really... Oh! That is a rare drop. We got the stone greatsword. Sword is very heavy. The stone knights who guard the Darkroot Garden wield this moss-covered greatsword. The same magic which created the stone knights is imbued in the sword. Unleash this power by wielding the sword with 2 hands. Yeah, so you can actually cast the spell that they use with that sword, which is pretty cool. That spell I think is not very good in PvE, but in PvP, if you're invading someone or you're being invaded, that can be quite frustrating. Yeah. Yeah, so the main reason we go down this way is for the item up here. We've got another knight to fight. We actually just do so much damage right now that we can kill him during his entire cast animation. So this is the real reason to come up this way, is the wolf ring. Let's take a look at that real quick. The wolf ring. One of the special rings granted to the 4 Knights of Gwyn. The wolf ring belongs to Artorias the Abysswalker. Artorias had an unbendable will of steel, and was unmatched with a greatsword. So this item boosts your poise, which is a stat that basically determines how likely you are to be staggered when someone hits you. The more poise you have, the more damage you can take before you kind of get knocked out of any of your animations or stunned. It is a useful stat to have. Your armor contributes to it, and that ring will give you a pretty decent bump. So, yeah, we'll actually go ahead and put that on. The other thing that ring mentioned in the flavor text is Artorias the Abysswalker, who is a very interesting, very cool character that we will actually be seeing more of later. Same thing with those Knights of Gwyn that were mentioned. I don't think they're shown in the intro cutscene, but they are kind of legit, and we will see more of those Knights of Gwyn later on. So there's a little bit more exploring I want to do real quick, and then there is a boss down here that we're going to fight. You can just hear that I've aggroed something, and there's actually another hiding one right here. Just missed it. There you go. There's another little trap here. Those snakes. Okay, so that's a spear. I haven't really gotten into using spears in this game. I like the halberd, but I don't really like any of the spears. Yeah, let's rest at the bonfire before we go fight the boss. We're going to be fighting an optional boss, because technically all of this Darkroot area... Well, I guess that's not true. There are a lot of parts of this area that are not required to complete the game. Where'd you come from? Alright. Let's get one more level. Let's go on intelligence. I don't know where that monster from before went. Anyway. Let's just do a quick run to the boss. We've fought pretty much everything in here already. We don't need to fight them again right now. So you can just walk behind this guy. This is the real reason we're here. Up this little tower. And here we have a fog gate. This boss is kind of interesting. I'm actually going to take off some armor to get a light roll again, because it's very important for this fight. This boss is purely a caster. It doesn't have any real melee attacks. You just have to kind of get used to these sort of magic attacks and how to dodge them. If you are a ranged character, you can hit it from here. If you're like me, as a melee player, you have to wait for it to come down, and when it takes a rest in between spells, which it should be doing any minute now. I'm kind of surprised it hasn't done it yet. Okay, here it is. So we got about half of its health down. So we just gotta dodge a bit more. And then the next time it gets down to rest, we should kill it. The trick really is to basically just stay in front of it as much as you can. And just start dodging to the side whenever it casts something. It does have one special attack that we do need to be a little bit more careful about, but... Spell's starting to come out a little faster now. Okay, here we go. And there we go. It's an interesting boss. It's not really one of my favorites, but it's kind of interesting as a change of pace from the way most bosses work in this game. So we did just get a pretty good chunk of souls, and if we go all the way to the top here, we should find... Okay, we find the key and the divine ember. Well, that's death. That's really annoying. Yeah, make sure when you're going downstairs that you stay on the stairs and you don't walk off the edge. So we're gonna run and go pick up those souls there. But yeah, the thing we just got there is the Divine Ember, which will allow you to upgrade weapons down the Divine path. Divine weapons scale with faith, so if you have more faith, they deal more damage. They also deal some of their damage as magic damage instead of physical, which can be relevant for some fights which have resistances to physical. And more importantly, divine weapons have an additional effect that causes skeletons or enemies. There are skeletons that are in the catacombs area of this game. If you do not have a divine weapon, they will reanimate when you kill them. They don't stay dead. They will put themselves back together within a few seconds. But if you kill them with a divine weapon, they will not do that. They will just die instantly and stay dead. Okay. So we've got this now. Don't really want to run back through that area to fight all those guys, so let's use a homeward bone. Just teleport back to the last bonfire. Alright. Let's level up. Thinking ahead to where we're going next. I think we should be okay. Let's just raise endurance to 14. And we'll bring intelligence to 14. Alright. I am going to walk back to Andre, the blacksmith. And then next episode we will start from there. We will be exploring another optional area that we kind of passed back in the Undead Parish, which is the lower Undead Burg. There is a pretty infamous boss down there, and that will also lead us to another ember that we're going to use to upgrade our weapon even further. So yeah, join me next time as we prepare to fight the Capra Demon. Thanks for watching.